Okay, next target. Hey, there's our buddy. I wouldn't stand back there. We're about to add the first accessory to the Maverick, and that is the Slug pin probe. But before I do that, I just want to measure maximum power with the factory pellet probe, and I want to measure what the maximum pressure is with the factory hammer weight. We're going to start at 125 bar and work our way up from there. We're going to use the Quick Tune System, so that's going to make it really easy. It's going to make it all toolless, and we're going to use 34 grain JSBs to measure maximum foot-pounds. Okay, here we go. If you'll watch the gauge, we'll just work the pressure up using the knob to around, I think we'll start off at 125 bar, because I'm pretty sure the pressure is going to max out at between 130 and 140. Okay, so there's 125 bar. And if you remember from the previous two videos, it's easy to get back to the maximum hammer spring. It's going to be between 4 and 3.5. So there's 3.5. Let's see if it'll cock. It will cock. Uncock it. 3.45. Nope. 3.5. Yeah, between 3.45 and 3.5. Let's see if the radar picks up the first shot.
916.
63.3 foot-pounds. Let's move up to 130. And I don't have to adjust the hammer spring at all because it's already maxed out. One more shot.
923.
923, and it looks like it went. Looks like the regulator settled back down to 128, 129. Let's just take another shot, see what it does. And it's not cocking anymore. I think we had it adjusted too far. I'm going to turn it back 5 thousandths. There, it cocks again. Let's try another shot. Same regulator pressure.
923.
And same result. Okay, let's move the regulator up a little bit. That looks like 131, 132. We'll know when we're at maximum pressure, when our velocity starts to drop. Okay, another shot.
926.
Okay, let's add a couple more bar. Looks like we settled on right at 130 there.
926.
Gauge looks like it's at 132, 133. Let's try another shot.
928.
Okay, we're not gaining much. We only gained 2 feet per second there. That looks closer to 135. Try it again.
926.
Let's call it 133. Let's take one more shot. See what happens.
928.
Let's raise it a little bit. Take another shot.
921.
Okay, there it fell back down. So it looks like my gauge says 137. So right out about 135 is where it maxed out. Get to 137 and the speed drops off. So from the factory, the way it comes with the pellet probe, it looks like the absolute maximum power you're going to get is 65 foot-pounds at 928 feet, and that's with a JSB 33.95 grain pellet. And maximum pressure, 133 to 135 bar. I wish I had a digital gauge for this, but I do not. We'll just have to go with the analog gauge. All right, so I'll change out the pellet probe. I'll switch to the Slug pin probe, and we'll run the same tests. I'll have to back down the pressure again, and then run it back up from, let's say, 130 to see if it goes any higher. And then we'll see how much more power we can get using the Slug pin probe instead of the factory pellet probe. See you in a minute. Okay, so one of the cool things about the Quick Tune system for the Maverick is there's just this single screw to remove the hammer spring adjuster, and there's enough room that this block and the adjuster comes out without removing the stock or the butt stock. Here's a good look at the pellet probe and the slug probe. Pellet probe is designed where the air comes in through this port here and then comes out over here. It's actually designed to fire the air into the skirt of the pellet, and it's supposed to expand the skirt so it engages with the barrel better. It's kind of an interesting design for sure. What you'll find is there's actually quite a bit of material that interferes with the path of the air. So the slug probe is just a pin, so it has significantly less material to interfere with the air, so you get more airflow and a faster velocity at the same settings. And we'll make that comparison here in a second. So I'll install the slug probe and we'll go from there. Okay, so our last shot was shot 9, and I've got the gun set back to 120 bar. I actually didn't degas the gun, I just turned the regulator adjustment knob clockwise about 1/8 of a turn at a time. I did that 3 times and then fired the gun in between, got it back down to about 120. So if you just need to move it like 5 bar, 10 bar, not much, you can actually dial the regulator lower a little bit at a time. Not a lot at a time, but a little bit at a time. All right, let's see what happens on this first shot. We should be at 122 on the reg, and we're still at maximum hammer spring, which was 355.
928.
So 928, that's where we topped off with the pellet probe at 133 bar. We're at 123 bar, so we've got 10 more bar to go. Okay, so let's see what happens. That's about 125.
937. 930. 930.
So really it looks like it's closer to 930 than it was 937. Let's raise it up a little bit again.
935.
Try one more.
935.
Okay, and that looks like 127, 128. Try it there.
939.
That looks like it landed on 132. Let's try it there.
935.
And that looks like it's pretty close to 135. The camera's skewed a little bit. I'm trying to look directly down on the gauge.
937.
So 935, 937. Let's try a little more. That looks like 137, 138.
930.
Okay, we're going to call it there. 937 versus 928. So around 10 feet per second is our gain with just the slug pin probe. And our pressure should have been about the same at 134, 133. About 10 feet per second is all you're really going to gain on the top end when you switch out from the pellet probe to the pin probe. I'm going to change the tungsten hammer out real quick, and remember, you just have to pull the one screw here to remove the hybrid adjuster, and then you can get the spring cup out of there and the spring and the hammer weight all without taking the stock off. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to switch out to the tungsten hammer real quick, and I'll be right back. And always remember to back out your thimble all the way back to 10 when you remove the hybrid adjuster in the block. So here are the hammer weights. This is the factory hammer weight, and this is the tungsten hammer weight that comes with the Slug Power Kit. I did weigh these. The factory hammer weight is 11.45 grams, and this big boy here is actually 26.6 grams, so it's over twice the weight of the original factory hammers. We'll see what kind of results we get once we change to the heavier hammer here. There are plenty of videos out there by a bunch of different creators where they show you how to install the hammer weights and the slug probe. I'm not going to show you that here, but you should have no issues. It's very straightforward. A lot of advantages with this quick tune system, I promise you, just for when you're tinkering around and you're testing. Okay, this is maximum hammer spring, 138 on the regulator gauge. Let's hope it doesn't give us a sonic boom or something.
900. 23,
Oh, it dropped off. So what does that mean? It's maxed out. It dropped off a little bit, so it actually needs a little bit more regulator pressure. Let's move this up closer to 140. Let's try there.
928,
Let's try higher. Now it's closer to 150. Okay, so let's see what happens now.
972,
You get quite a bit more. Let's try one more at 950.
970,
So let me take it all the way up to 160 and see what we get. And then we'll degas and we'll see what the bottom end is too. So let me see if I dial this up to 160. So let's take a couple shots and see what we get.
993,
Quite a bit. Almost to 1,000.
995,
995. And remember, the maximum foot-pounds that we're supposed to be able to get out of this gun is 79 foot-pounds with a 38.5 grain slug. I think the maximum they tell you to run this gun is 170 on the second reg. So I'll bet if we bumped up the first reg to 190 and we bumped up the second reg to 170, I bet we'd get real close to that 79 foot-pound max that FX says that you can get with this 600 millimeter barrel. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. More importantly, let's figure out what we're going to get on the low end. So let me reset the cameras, reset the gun. I'll degas the gun and turn the regulator back down. We'll start at a low pressure. Let's see what the lowest is with the 25-4s. I want to do that to see if I want to keep that heavy hammer in or if I want to go back to the factory hammers. I'll be back. 10 is going to be our starting point, and let's try 70 bars, usually our minimum for the 25s. 0 hammer spring. So these are JSB 25.4s. Let's see what happens with 0 hammer spring. First shot.
851,
70 bar with 0 hammer spring. But let's see what kind of shot string we get.
847, 828,
An awful one is what we get.
840, 828, 830.
Okay, I have seen enough. Our speed was maxed out at a 0 hammer spring at 70 bars. I need to peel it back to 0, and I need to dial up the regulator pressure. So 75 bar, 0 on the hammer spring.
880,
880.
79,
So is that the minimum? See if we can get any more out of 75 bar. Let's go to 9.5.
870,
That was the maximum. And you're all the way, you have no downward adjustment. The only way you can go is faster with this heavy hammer. So it seems like if you're going to shoot 25.4s, it's not going to be with the heavy hammer. You've got to use the heavy hammer probably at 29s or better. Let's try 29s. Okay, loading up JTS 29.63 grain. So these are those middleweight pellets that I really want these to work really bad because the JTS are really well formed and the weight distribution is really tight. The last time we tested the JTS, 25.4s at least, they did not run well. So I really want them to work, but I don't know if I'm going to get them to work. And I have nothing to back this up. I'm just this pure guess. My instinct tells me that the lead may be a little bit harder and the barrel doesn't like it as much as the JSB products. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. JTS 29.63s. 85 bar on the regulator, 0 on the hammer spring.
875,
Let's go up 0.5 millimeter, 1 turn. See if there's more in it.
868,
No, there's not. 875 is the maximum at 85 bar, so I can't go any lower and I can't go any higher. Heavy hammer, 85 bar, you've got no adjustment room. Let's try 90 bar. And we're still at 0. Hammer spring.
881,
Let's see if there's any more top end.
879,
There's not. Let's try 100 bar. And we're at 0 on the hammer spring.
900, 9,
909. Let's give it a 1/2 millimeter on the hammer spring.
900. 9.
And it's still maxed out. Let's try 110, and we're at 0 on the hammer spring.
900. 30.
Let's try 1/2 millimeter. See if we get any more top end.
900.
Okay.
39.
Basically, at 110 bar is the minimum pressure you can use this tungsten hammer weight. Let's go one more 1/2 millimeter. We'll go down to 9. See if we gain any velocity.
900.
Nope.
39.
Nearly no downward adjustment. And you'd have to be at the 34 grain weight because you've got no hammer adjustment. It seems like you need a mid-weight hammer just to give you a little bit more coverage. That's something to experiment with, actually, to see what like a 16 or 17 gram hammer would be. I'm not usually going to be shooting 75 foot-pounds. I'm just target shooting. Mainly, I'm going to be around 45 to 65 foot-pounds, let's say. I don't think I'm going to be up into that 75 range. You know, those 25-4s, I like to shoot a lot because they're inexpensive and you get a lot of shots through the gun shooting those lighter weight. You know, I want to shoot more without filling up rather than shooting heavy and filling up more. So that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, that'll be an interesting experiment going forward, is trying to get a 16 to 18 gram hammer weight if the factory one is indeed 12 and this tungsten one is 25, and I think I've got that right. So okay, hopefully you found some of this interesting, and hopefully it didn't run too long. So I'll play around with this some more and maybe come up with a 16 or 18 gram hammer weight and see what that one does. See you next time. Okay.